This video is sponsored by Squarespace. On my last trip, I went to one of my favorite locations here in Denmark to practice my bird photography skills. I demonstrated the two techniques I often use when I feel a little rusty and needs to get back in shape. It was a very wet day and my equipment got soaked, so in the behind the scenes I shared how I dry and clean my equipment after a trip like this. This time I'm back on the little island, the protected island where I used to photograph the badgers. It is now late spring and I'm a little late out this year, but I just hope to see these beautiful creatures. During the day, the sun was so hot and it was difficult to photograph. The shadows were black and the highlights were burning out. So instead of photographing, I just went around exploring the island, and because I had to get up like 3:30 in the morning and went to bed after 11, it was also a good time for a nap. I didn't see a lot of wildlife on these trips, and the thing was basically too warm and just too dry. But the early mornings and the late evenings were good. The dew was making nature wet and fresh, and this was usually when the wildlife would appear. So the badgers that I'm out to photograph are about 400 meters that way, and because of the wind I really have a challenge, because if you look at the wind, take a dry leaf or something here, I don't know if you can see it. No, let's try it with this. The wind is coming from the fjord and this way. And the problem is, or the challenge is, that if we look here, the wind is from that direction. Let's put a little mark here. So this is the wind coming like so. The badgers are over here, and we can say these small sticks here are the badgers. This is the badger den here, and the set is all the way out like this, in this direction. My photo blind is placed over here, and just take this one. It's my photo blind, and the light is coming from down here, pointing this way. It's coming here, now it's about here, but later when the badger comes up, it's like this direction, and that is one of the reasons why I have the photo blind here, so I can get the backlight. My plan tonight was to sit over here. There's a tree around here, and I would like to have photographed them in this direction because there are a lot of beautiful ferns here, and there are a lot of beautiful ferns here. There are ferns everywhere, but these are just perfect. And then of course there are some ferns in this. So I have brought my 3D camouflage, and I would have liked to go here and sit with the tree and photograph this way, but because of the wind it's not an option. Sitting down here would also have been really nice in the 3D camouflage, because I could have hidden very easily. But now I have to change my plans, and I would like to sit here, but it's simply not possible to sit there. Oh, there's a little snail. It's not possible to sit here because there's a little hill and there are a lot of trees. So when I all the way down here, I'm basically like behind the hills. Here is also nice, but the problem is that there's like a little hill coming up here and down again. So this is no go. So my only options are like so. Because of the wind, this is completely impossible for me. This is on the limit because in a forest the wind can easily go a little like around, but it is my only chance tonight. So now I can see the badges set and the photo blind, and now it's the critical part, the last 50 meters. This is where I get close because of the scent, because of the noise. Here's the photo blind obviously, and over here are the badges set. So now I just want to make a last check to see if they, against my expectation, are up. Everything is silent. So now it's just to get over there to the blind. No more talking tonight. Just hope that I'll see the badgers and maybe get some photos. I will run the camera if something happens. So I want to share this. sitting in a photo blind, just waiting for the badgers, hour after hour. It's a patient game. It's a little bit weird because sometimes when I get there after a busy period, it's kind of hard to relax, hard to be present, because my brain wants to get entertained. But then, after a little while, when I accept the quietness, the calmness, like this is when I really feel I settle down and I start to see all these beautiful things around me, and then I just feel I can wait forever. It's almost a meditation for me. I just spent 7 days on the little island photographing the badgers, but this time it was really challenging and I saw the badgers very little. But in this behind the scenes I'm going to talk a little about why a photo blind is really good in situations like this, and also just in general why I'm using the photo blind, the benefits. So yeah. Before we move on, I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Squarespace lets you build professional-looking websites without any knowledge about coding and web design. You simply choose one of the many great-looking templates, and by dragging and dropping photos and changing the text and colors, you can make it your own. You can create beautiful galleries to showcase your work, and it's very easy to update the gallery with your latest photos. It also has built-in e-commerce, so you can start selling your prints, calendars and digital products. So if you need a new website, head over to squarespace.com to start your 14 days free trial. And you can use the off code Morten Hilmer to get 10% off your first purchase. I've put a link in the description. So here is a little photo blind, and it's not the same model as I'm using on the island, but my 3 photo blinds are all set up. So this is the only one I do not use. A little blind where you're supposed to lie down and you can have your lens sticking out here, and waterproof. And here you have a little mesh so that the heat can get out and you don't get a whole lot of condensation. And the photo blind I use for now are from the brand called Tragopan, and I have to admit that I still haven't found a photo blind that I'm 100% happy with. I'm very happy with all the design and the layout and the way you set them up, but the thing I'm not so happy about is actually the quality of the blinds, the fabric, the sewings, all these things, and especially the pegs here. It's the best I have found so far, but it's far from what I want. And I think after I got my floating blind from Mr. Jan Gear, look at this fat cat. It's Smeagol. Go and catch a mouse, Smeagol. Some mice. Yeah, go and catch some mice. Now, after I tried that floating hide from Mr. Jan Gear, I think I have been a little spoiled on quality and how good things can actually be made. It's all made in Europe. It's premium quality, and then I praised the Tragopan because that was so much better than other things I've tried. But now, after trying this from Mr. Jan Gear, it's not good anymore. But they still hold up very well. The one on the little island has been there for, I think, 6 months now in the forest, and it's just very good. So until I find something better, I think that's what I'm going to recommend. On the island, my Smeagol, come. Yeah. On the little island, I had the badgers, and I knew from the game cameras that they were there and they were very active. But all the time I was there, I think I had the opportunity to photograph them 3 times altogether, and that I was out every morning and every evening except from one morning. And I think the reason why, I would say, based on the game cameras that I look at when I came home, and like the day I left, there was full activity again. The times I were there was very little activity. So my conclusion is that my scent has been the issue, and it is also the first time I'm on that island, and the wind was coming from the opposite direction of what it used to do. And you saw the little section where I was making a drawing in the bottom of the forest. You can see that I only had like 2 angles to photograph from. And when the wind is from this direction, I'm basically like checkmate. But that was also the reason why this is where the photo blind really come handy. But normally I use a photo blind to hide my movements. So when I sit out for a long time, I can actually sit, have coffee, I can do that for the mosquitoes, I can change lenses, batteries, play with my sound equipment, all that kind of stuff, and without the animals are getting annoyed or afraid. Another thing is because I can set up the blind, and the animals will get used to some kind of movement from some kind of noise from that exact location. And when I'm suddenly in the blind, there's not a whole lot of change, only a little lens sticking out, and the noise can easily be like taken for this. When I move in there, it can just be like the wind moving the blind. So that is an obvious reason for using a blind. Another really good reason for using a blind is actually to block your scent a little bit. Not that it blocks your scent 100%, but when you're in the blind, imagine me lying on the grass here, and the wind is coming like it is now. It will touch my entire body, the clothes, the hair, the breath, everything, and take it, and the mosquito oil, and take it to where the animals are. I have gotten away with using a blind in less than perfect wind conditions, because let's take this blind for instance, or the one on the island. When the wind comes here, it will go over the blind and actually not touch me at all, and it's not a scent blocker, but it's very close. So I just thought, because not a lot of people think about a blind like that, but beside being a really good place where you can do movements and you can be comfortable and the animals get used to you move to the thing standing there, it is also really good if you have no other options because the wind is bad. So that is a good situation for putting out a blind. For that you can also use a tarp, just like a fabric that you set up for a few days, and yeah, that should be fine. So that was just a little. I think I didn't talk about that out there because I didn't really think about explaining it, but that is the good thing about the behind the scenes. Then I can tell you it right here. I think now I'm going to pack this down because I have to get out early in the morning to do some macro photography, and then yeah, that was it for this time, and I think Smeagol and I will say see you out there.